Round two,
Okay.
we may have had the fight of the century, with the first Ollie Frazier, but I mean the second one, that was fascinating. Talk about this weekend.
Well, I wouldn't exactly put Vivek in the category of being Joe Frazier, but you being kind.
No.
But, 20
I
years
love Joe Frazier, so I would never do that.
and Joe Frazier could fight and take a punch, but
it was great.
I think Vivek, well, first of all, 20 years ago, when Vivek was a student at Harvard, and I did a Harvard forum with Chris Matthews on hardball, I was running for president. He came up to the mic and asked me why should anyone vote for me when they'd had Senator Kerry the week before was running, the week before that Senator Edwards was running, and why should anyone vote for me who had the least political experience? And I told him political experience didn't go by whether you had a political office. I'd been involved in the political realm as an activist at that point for 30 years. I had more experience than anybody on the debate stage that we were getting ready to do in terms of what I did in the political realm that affected laws and policies. And so here we were 20 years later. I had him on Politics Nation Saturday night. I say to him, I showed him the tape of where he asked me the question, and I said to him, you have no political experience. You didn't even vote but twice. Why are you running? And you also endorsed and support a man who had no political experience either, other than fighting the Central Park Five, saying they should have been executed when they were innocent, accused of raping a woman in Central Park. So is it different rules for me? And we went in from there into his attacks on members of Congress, saying they were the new KKK Grand Wizard and all other kind of absurd things. And I think he's basically a guy that knows how to sell and talk, but he does not have any substance. And he is attractive but shallow. And I think that he's hoping that Trump voters will come to him if Trump has to drop out the race. But I don't see him lasting. I think he'll be a snowflake.
Well, the thing is, he knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy. It's just so cynical.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what he said a year ago and what he's saying now. You look at all of his attacks on Donald Trump in 2021 and what he's saying now. He just changed. And again, it's. I always see this. We were talking earlier about the scar tissue from Trumpism and the stupid form of populism. And you have young, talented people like Vivek just racing to the bottom, lowest common denominator, lying about things, chasing conspiracy theories when he could actually do some pretty incredible things on policy.
I know, if he would use his mind
it's
right.
sad.
So here is Reverend Dahl and Vivek Ramaswamy in 2003, and then this past weekend, 20 years later.
Good. Let's get to my question here. Go ahead.
Reverend Sharpton, hello. I'm Vivek, and I want to ask you, last week on the show we had Senator Kerry, and this week and the week before we had Senator Edwards. And my question for you is, of all the Democratic candidates out there, why should I vote for the one with the least political experience?
Well, you shouldn't, because I have the most political experience. I got involved in the political movement when I was 12 years old. And I've been involved in social policy for the last 30 years. So don't confuse people that have a job with political experience.
So 20 years later, now my turn to ask you, of all the Republican candidates out there, why should someone vote for you, the one with the least political experience? And I might add, you've never held office. You've only voted twice.
That's correct.
In the last few elections. You don't even vote regularly.
Yes.
And you support Donald Trump, who never held office until he was president. Well, you putting a different standard on me, but I won't even make the racial application there. Why should we vote for you?
Listen, at the age of 18, I think you persuaded me on that one, that political experience is not the same as holding office. To tell you the truth, the reason I came out there and I was intrigued.
Can I put out right-wing press that Sharpton converted a young, well, I don't want to take credit. You're running to be the leader of the free world. So your choice of words matter. Have you taken any time to reflect upon the possibility that comparing your political rivals to murderous terrorists might put their lives in danger at a time when hate crimes are on the rise? Or do you just don't care?
You know what's toxic about that old worldview of organizations like the KKK, which have been a god-awful stain on our national history, is that they say that your skin color determines what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to think. I'm using an analogy to make a point, and the point I'm making is we should stop seeing each other on the basis of our skin color. It was god-awful when the KKK did it, but you know what? We have to learn a lesson in the present that we're creating more racial division in this country.
So, Rev, even just watching him in the debate a couple of weeks ago, he talked about cutting off aid to Ukraine, a preemptive pardon for President Trump, former President Trump, talked about climate change being a hoax. Since then, he's had some curious comments about maybe ending aid to Israel down the road. And also, we played last week that bizarre theory about, taking the heat off of Putin and Russia to help China so that to hit China so that Russia can be a counterweight. In other words, it's not just his style that is a little slick, but if you really stop and listen to what he's saying, a lot of it, even to conservatives, to Republican primary voters, sounds a little nuts.
It does. It really does. And when you question it, he stands by it. He does not try to back away. We talked about Ukraine. He says, I'm an anti-war candidate. You were the only anti-war candidate at the beginning in 2004. I said, how do you compare me saying there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq with you talking about Ukraine, which is a total different situation? And where he called a member of Congress, Congresswoman Presley, a grand wizard of the modern KKK at a time that we just saw 3 people killed in Florida in a hate crime. Why would you exacerbate this kind of behavior? In fact, I'm preaching the funeral. I'm doing a eulogy in Jacksonville on Friday of one of them, a young lady shot 11 times by this guy. 2 in the face, can't even open the casket. And Bishop McKissick and Reverend Green and I are doing the funeral on Friday. This is not a time to be using language that could exacerbate hate crimes and racial tensions and act like, well, I'm just making a point. You're making a point about a terrorist group called the Ku Klux Klan against a member of Congress that may have a difference of opinion than you.